When I finally got the books, my name was on 47 checks I never signed. 47. Each one drawn from the HOA's operating account. Each one made out to a company I'd never heard of. Each one stamped, deposited, and cleared, with a signature that looked like mine but wasn't. I'd been paying dues every month for 11 years. So had 5,000 other families. We thought the money was fixing the pool, repaving the lot, keeping the lights on. It wasn't. The man we elected to protect our money had been forging our names to steal it. Now I want you to remember that number. 47. 47 checks with forged signatures sitting in a filing cabinet while he smiled at us at board meetings. I'll show you where every dollar went before this video is over. If you've ever paid HOA dues and wondered where the money goes, subscribe now. You're going to want to hear this. But to understand how he got away with it, you need to understand what we trusted him with. The Hammocks wasn't a gated resort. It wasn't some luxury development with a concierge and a waiting list. It was a neighborhood. 5,000 families in Miami-Dade County, raising kids, parking minivans, waving at each other on the way to work. They had a community pool where teenagers learned to swim, a rec center that hosted quinceañeras and retirement parties in the same month, roads that stayed paved, lights that stayed on, landscaping that someone always seemed to be trimming. Every family paid their dues, every month without complaint, because the system worked, and the man running it had been elected by the people who trusted him most. He ran the board meetings like a man who'd been doing it his whole life. Mid-60s, reading glasses on a chain, a leather folder he'd open with both hands like it held state secrets. He spoke slowly, always with a number ready. Reserves are healthy. Maintenance is on schedule. We're in good shape. Someone would ask about the pool filter. It had been making a noise for months. He'd write it down, click his pen twice, and say it was already on the list. It wasn't on any list. That was the first year the pool didn't get fixed. Budget constraints, he said. The numbers looked right on paper. Columns aligned, totals matched, everything printed on HOA letterhead with his signature at the bottom. No one questioned it. He was the man they'd voted for. The second year, the parking lot lights went out. The landscaping crew stopped showing up. Residents called the management company. There was no management company. There hadn't been one for 8 months. One resident, a retired accountant with too much time and not enough trust, decided to ask a simple question at the next board meeting. Where is the money? The president smiled, thanked him for his concern, moved to the next agenda item. So, the retired accountant filed a formal request for a full financial audit. Any homeowner in Florida has the legal right to inspect HOA records. The board denied it, cited a bylaw requiring a 2/3 board vote to authorize an outside audit, a bylaw the president had written himself. He filed again. Denied. The request wasn't submitted on the correct form. There was no correct form. He showed up at the next meeting with a printed copy of Florida Statute 720, read the relevant section aloud. The president let him finish, adjusted his glasses, and said the board would take it under advisement. They never did. What arrived instead was a 4-page financial summary. Not the books, not the receipts, not the canceled checks. A summary, typed, stamped, same signature at the bottom. Total income, total expenses, everything accounted for. Except when the retired accountant sat at his kitchen table and multiplied monthly dues by 5,000 units by 12 months. The number didn't match. Not by a little. By $600,000. He went back through the summary. Vendor payments to companies no one had ever seen. No trucks in the lot, no workers in the common areas, no invoices posted anywhere. And this is real. One vendor was a landscaping company, billing $4,000 a month for a property where the grass hadn't been cut since spring. $4,000 a month for grass that wasn't being cut, billed by a company that didn't seem to exist. The retired accountant closed the folder, took off his glasses, and set them on the table. Then he picked up the phone. He didn't call a lawyer, not yet. He called a forensic accountant, someone whose job is reading numbersers, the way a detective reads a crime scene. It took 3 weeks and a court subpoena to get the actual books. The president fought it. The judge didn't care. When the records arrived, the forensic accountant spread them across a conference table. Bank statements, canceled checks, vendor contracts, and there they were. 47 checks, oldest to newest, each one signed with a resident's name. She held the first check next to the signature card on file. Then the second, then the 10th, then the 35th. These signatures, she said quietly, they're not even close. Not careful forgeries designed to fool a bank. Sloppy, rushed, written by someone who never expected anyone to look. The same slight upward slant on every letter, the same pressure on every downstroke. 47 different names, all in the same hand. Then she pulled the vendor files. 12 companies listed as HOA contractors. She ran each one through the state business registry. 7 didn't exist. No registration, no address, no employees. Companies that had been invoicing the HOA thousands of dollars a month for services no one had ever performed. She didn't call the retired accountant first. She called the Miami-Dade State Attorney's office. You'd think, once the state attorney had the checks and the vendor files and the forensic report, the president would have resigned, called a lawyer, tried to cut a deal, you'd think. Instead, he called an emergency board meeting, told the residents the audit was unauthorized, said the retired accountant had violated HOA bylaws by hiring an outside firm without board approval. He threatened to fine him, threatened legal action, stood at the front of that room with the same leather folder, the same reading glasses, the same calm voice, and told 5,000 families that their money was safe. The state attorney's office was already in the parking lot. They arrested him the following Tuesday, not at his home, at a board meeting, in front of the residents he'd been stealing from for years. The charges: organized fraud, grand theft, forgery, and money laundering. The amount in question: over $2 million. His reading glasses were still on the table when they walked him out. "Nar," you said. Tip took. The board was dissolved within the month. Every member removed. A court-appointed receiver took control of the HOA's finances until new elections could be held. The forensic audit revealed the full scope. Over $2 million funneled through 7 shell companies that had never laid a brick, never trimmed a hedge, never sent a single employee through the front gate. Dues that were supposed to fix the pool, repave the lot, keep the lights on, gone. Deposited into accounts the president controlled. Spent on things the community would never see. The pool was reopened the following summer. The parking lot lights came back on. A real landscaping company, one that existed in the state registry, one that actually showed up, started maintaining the grounds again. The retired accountant who started it all was elected to the new board. First motion he passed: mandatory annual independent audit, open to every resident, no bylaw required. And those 47 checks, each one bearing a forged signature in that same sloppy hand, are sitting in an evidence box in the Miami-Dade State Attorney's office, waiting for trial. The president who signed them is waiting too. The same hand that signed the campaign flyers. The same hand that signed the forged checks. The same hand they put the cuffs on. 47 forged checks, 1 pair of handcuffs. If you pay HOA dues, do one thing this week. Request the financial records. You have the right. And if the numbers don't match, now you know what to do. Subscribe. Next week's story makes this one look like a misdemeanor.